Thank you for watching this video on investors in Kenya, who they are, what they invest in, where they invest, and how you can meet or contact them. You're in good hands. My team has substantial multi-decade experience in working with African investors. I've run an African stock exchange and investment bank focused on Africa, and my team runs AFSIC Investing in Africa, perhaps Africa's most important investment event. There's a lot of information in this video, but if you really want to get maximum benefit from our experience, whether you're an investor yourself or want to apply for investment, make sure you subscribe to our email list or contact us so that we can send you further details on the next steps. In addition, if you're looking to raise money from an investor in Kenya, I strongly recommend that you join our Africa business community today, absolutely for free. Links are in the YouTube video description if you're watching on YouTube, and on the web page if you're watching this on one of our digital portals or websites. We'll promote you and your investment opportunity in Kenya free of charge. Okay, so let's get going and talk about Kenyan investors. First, what type of investors are there that focus on Kenya? Well, actually, there's not a simple answer, as there are quite a number of ways in which you can segment Kenyan and African investors. For instance, by the business sector in which they invest, or the countries in Africa, if they're African investors, that they focus on, and so on. So to start, let's look at the difference between investors who make investment decisions wholly on behalf of themselves or the company they work for, versus professional investors who are paid to invest on behalf of third parties. In other words, they're investors investing on behalf of other investors. People who invest for their own benefit are often called private investors. They could be successful businessmen or women based inside or outside Kenya who invest directly into companies' shares or funds in Kenya looking to make money specifically for themselves. The richest of these individuals may have set up their own investment operations, often called family offices. Or they could be companies looking to grow in Africa. For instance, a large renewable energy company in France might look to buy or invest into renewable energy companies in Kenya or elsewhere in Africa. The key here is that both the companies, are individuals in this case, are looking for investments solely to benefit themselves. There are literally hundreds of thousands of these investors who might be interested in looking into investing in any business, project or concept in Africa. In general, corporate investors make larger investments than private investors. However, corporate investors are likely to be highly restricted to investing only into companies in the exact same or similar type of business. Private investors will, with only a small number of exceptions, invest smaller amounts than professional or corporate investors, but because they're investing on their own behalf, they've got much greater flexibility in what they can invest in than professional investors who have their hands tied as to what they can invest into. Private individual investors can often put money both into very early stage projects, concepts or ideas, as what are known as angel or venture capital investors, as well as being able and willing to invest into more developed investment opportunities. While there are a large number of these types of investors, the difficulty is often finding out who they are and what they're looking for. They may be based outside of Africa and have very little networks within specific African countries such as Kenya, and as a result never get shown investment opportunities that might be of interest to them. To facilitate the flow of business and investment opportunities to these types of investors, our team has developed a digital Africa Business Opportunities dashboard, which is designed to bring all sorts of investment opportunities to the forefront of private investors' attention. So look for the links below the video on YouTube or on the web page if you're on one of our websites. So do add yourself to our Africa business community today, free of charge, if you want your project to be discovered by this type of investor. So we've talked about the type of investors, including private investors, family offices and companies who are looking to invest into Africa on their own behalf. The other type of investor is a professional investor. Professional investors get paid to invest other people's money. This type of investor often needs to be regulated in their home country, in this case Kenya, by the National Financial Services Authority, and is often referred to as an institutional investor or fund manager. They may be based in Kenya, elsewhere in Africa, or outside Africa. In fact, each country in Africa has its own local institutional investors who generally prefer to invest in their own country, perhaps because they know the investment conditions best or exchange control regulations force them to invest internally. Some countries in Africa, such as Egypt, Morocco, Kenya, Nigeria, South Africa, have very well developed local fund managers. For instance, in South Africa, Old Mutual's Sanlam and Allan Gray are well-known investment funds. But there are also a large number of institutional investors based outside of Kenya and outside of Africa, for instance in the US, UK, France, Germany, Switzerland, and so on, who can range in size from very small to those managing billions of US dollars of investments. This type of investor is most often severely restricted in what they can invest in, although a few, like hedge funds, may have an unrestricted ability to invest in what they fancy at any particular time. But generally speaking, there's no point asking a fund manager who specializes in investing into agriculture companies in Kenya to look at investing into a new and exciting mining company in Kenya, as most likely, however much they may like the investment merits of the mining company, they'll simply not be allowed to invest in it as a result of mandate prohibitions which stop them investing in that kind of investment. As a result, you need to understand the investment mandates or parameters of these investors before you approach them. Common restrictions for African investors are based on region. For instance, some professional investors are only allowed to invest in North Africa, others in sub-Saharan Africa, others only in Kenya. Kenya is actually a very attractive location for global investors to look at. Some investors are sector restricted. For instance, there are funds solely focused on renewable energy, agriculture, health, mining, and education as examples. There are also further restrictions on the type of investments that a fund manager can make. Some are restricted to investing in shares listed on the Kenyan Stock Exchange. They're known as public equity investors or listed equity investors. Others are the opposite and can only invest in companies that are not listed on the Kenyan Stock Exchange, the Nairobi Stock Exchange. These are known as private equity investors. Others provide debt finance and some specialize in trade finance. Knowing what each investor focuses on is important in learning which investor might be of greatest assistance to you in raising funding. As a reminder, we've developed one of the largest networks of investors globally focused on Kenya and elsewhere in Africa. And if you subscribe to our mailers or become a member of our Africa business community today, then we'll keep you updated on the various options that we offer for you to connect with these investors. Joining is free, so why not do it while you're watching this video? So we've discussed the difference between private and company investors investing on their own behalf and institutional investors who manage money for a fee from other investors. We've also talked about the fact that some investors focus on specific business sectors and others can only invest in certain types of investment instruments, for example, listed shares. But where do these investors focus on in Africa? Well, generally speaking, investors based within Africa focus mainly on investment opportunities specifically in their own country. So look for Kenyan fund managers. There are exceptions. For instance, Moroccan and South African investors have a good history of investing in countries like Kenya and elsewhere across Africa. But in the main, it's a good rule of thumb. Otherwise, most investors focus on investing into the largest economies in Africa. So that is Egypt, Morocco, Nigeria, Kenya, included in that South Africa, or into projects, concepts, or ideas that are scalable across the continent. An idea might have been something like M-Pesa. So we've now talked about the different types of investors in Kenya and in Africa, where they invest, what they invest in. Now it's time to discuss how to meet or connect with them. And that's where we can really assist you. We've got a number of digital platforms that are free for you to use, where you can upload your investment idea and it can be reviewed by our large network of investors and parties interested in Africa. And again, this is totally free. So first, we suggest you follow links as to how to join our Africa business community today. Once a member, you'll be able to post your own business and investment opportunities on our Africa Business Opportunities dashboard. For those wanting to meet the Kenyan and African investors at a physical event, I highly recommend attending our AFSIC Investing in Africa event, which is perhaps Africa's most important investment event and a great place to connect with investors focused on Africa. So on that note, I'd like to thank you very much for having watched this video to the end. Don't forget your next step is to become a member of our Africa business community. It's free, so why not do that right now? Thank you.